Thank you, Mr. President. I'm delighted to join my colleagues here in support of these kids who are known as dreamers or DACA kids because they came in under the statute or under President Obama's program, and who have lived here for many years in this country, passed all the requirements, met all the standards. These are good kids. There's absolutely no reason for them to be the target of the kind of anxiety and fear that they're being put through to score political points. It really doesn't make sense. By definition, these kids came to the United States of America under the age of 16. You can't even enforce a contract against a minor in this country. They do not have the legal capacity in most places to buy a sofa. And yet we're holding them to account for decisions that their parents made when they were small children. One of the Rhode Islanders who will be affected by this came to the United States when she was 8 years old. 8 years old. Think of the kind of decisions that your 8-year-old kids make, or that you were making when you were 8 years old. This is a very successful young lady who is now at the Brown Medical School. She's going to make enormous contributions to our country. Tossing her out or putting her in peril makes no sense whatsoever, particularly when the original problem started because she was brought to her country by her parents when she was 8 years old. Another Rhode Islander who contacted me came to the country when she was 7 years old. She's now a teacher in the middle school in Central Falls, Rhode Island. Central Falls is a community that is emerging from bankruptcy. It's got its feet back under it now. It has a wonderful, exciting young mayor. Spirits are up. Things are going well. But it's not easy to be a middle school teacher anywhere. And to be a middle school teacher in a small city that's come out of bankruptcy is not easy. This is a valuable person to Rhode Island. Losing her adds no value to anyone. Another person who contacted me came at 10 months old. At 10 months old, they barely even knew where they were. They came from Portugal at 10 months old. Now, he has a college degree in computer science. He's ready to make his contribution to our country. He's done everything right and has played by the rules, and we are loading him up with all this anxiety and peril because of a decision that his parents made when he was 10 months old. You can't go out, as I said, and buy a sofa on the installment plan at 8 years old, and yet we're trying to penalize these kids. It makes no sense at all. It doesn't even make economic sense. The studies that I've seen show that disrupting the lives of these 800,000 dreamer kids, 90% more, or more than 90% of whom are in the workforce, would reduce the U.S. gross domestic product by $460 billion over the next decade. They're making a serious contribution here. In Rhode Island, in my state, the delta is about $200 million in annual state GDP between having the DREAM Act pass and losing the DACA kids. We would stand to gain as much as $150 million in annual GDP if the DREAM Act passes, and ending DACA will result in an annual loss of $60 million to our GDP. So just in my small state, there's $200 million in positive economic result annually from solving this problem in a way that is humane and consistent with the way we treat children in virtually every other element of the law. Sadly, a lot of this is twisted up in the continued fight over immigration, which the Senate really tried to solve. I'm on the Judiciary Committee. Senator Durbin was on the Judiciary Committee at the time. We, under Chairman Leahy's leadership, went through hundreds of amendments. We took dozens of votes. Some 90 amendments were incorporated into the bill. And it came out of the Judiciary Committee by a bipartisan vote of 13-5. It came onto the Senate floor where there were amendments. There actually was some regular order. Hundreds of amendments were considered. And the final bill passed on June 27th by 68-32. 68-32. And then our bipartisan Senate bill went over to the House, where the Speaker of the House refused to even bring it up. No hearing, no vote, no nothing. No, nothing. Just froze it out. So there's a long history of why we are here today. But the price should not be paid by these kids. Not when the original problem was something that was done when they were children. 10 months old. President Lincoln talked about the better angels of our nature. Let's show these kids the better angels of our nature. Let's do something decent, something bipartisan, something that is right, and let's do it soon. I yield the floor.